Krishna devotees, welcome to the Gita Daily session. So today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Just one second. So let us take the blessings of the Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Mai Sudarshan, Lakshmi Narasimhadev, Gauranathaya Panchatattva. Let's pray that by their blessings we are able to understand the transcendental topics of Bhagavad Gita. So let's go on. Let's recite the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतावदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Let's dedicate a session to His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. By whose mercy, we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita in an easy and practical way. Let's thank Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just one second. So today's sloka is 6.47. So let's recite the sloka. योगीनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ता तमो मदम्. Repetition. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ता तमो मदम्. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Word meaning? Yogina, of yogis, api, also, sarvesham, or all types of. Madgadena, abiding me in me, always thinking of me. Anta Atma, within himself. Shraddhavan, in full faith. Bhajate, renders transcendental loving service. Ya, one who, Ma, to me, the Supreme Lord. Sa, he, me, me, by me. Yuktatama, the greatest yogi. Mada is considered. So today's sloka is a very profound sloka. So we have been discussing, chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, which is entitled Dhyana Yoga. So in this chapter, last 2 days, 3 days, we were discussing this chapter summary. So in this chapter, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna the process of Ashtanga Yoga, right, which is the normal yoga which most people do today. And we saw that yoga actually word means connection to the Lord. So without connection to the Lord, if you perform any yoga, it will not have the ultimate benefit. So these things we already saw. So we also saw how a yogi has to be regulated, in his senses, control, etc. So this is the last sloka of the chapter 6. So after explaining, and also we also saw that Arjuna tells Krishna that the process of yoga, which Krishna is explaining, is very difficult to follow. And we saw that in Kali Yuga it is very difficult to actually practice meditation, etc. Because this was the process for the Satya Yoga. In Kali Yuga, the process is chanting of the holy name. So, and Krishna also agrees that it is difficult. Asamshayam Mahabaho, Krishna, so when Arjuna says that it is very difficult, so Krishna agrees that the process is also difficult. So, and then after all describing the various steps, etc., in the end, the last sloka, Krishna is explaining, this sloka is actually coming in the end of this chapter, the last sloka. So that means the last sloka, generally will be the conclusion, right? Or what actually we have to draw from the chapter. So Krishna is saying that yoginam abhi sarvesham. So of all the yogis, right, of all the different kinds of yogis, madgadeyan antaratmana, shraddhavan bhajate yomam. So bhaja, the word bhaja means to execute devotional service. So Krishna is saying that of all the different kinds of yogis, a devotee, right, or a person who is always remembering me and executing devotional service, samay yukta tamomada, yukta tamomada. So what it means is that he is the topmost. So this is the essential conclusion, of the chapter, right? What we have to understand. So we have seen also that, in the yoga ladder there are different steps, right? So that also we will see a little more detail. And, yeah, so let's focus on that of today's sloka. So in the yoga order, actually, so basically, there are different steps. We briefly seen it, so we'll see a little more detail today. So basically, the first category, the steps are: first is the karma yoga, then comes the jnana yoga, then dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So these are the, so if somebody wants to progress, sequentially or naturally, step by step, then this is what actually the jiva goes through generally. First actually, initially he may not be coming in the Vedic fold itself. So somebody is a karma kandi, who actually doesn't have knowledge of Vedic scriptures, or who doesn't dedicate the results of the activities, right? He doesn't even comes in the Vedic fold. He's outside that. Then whenever a person starts become conscious of the Lord and dedicate to the results of his activities, right? He does the activities or karma and dedicate the result to the Lord or dovetail the result to the Lord, then he becomes a karma yogi. There is a connection with the Lord, and it is called yoga, karma yoga. So this is the first step. Then after karma yoga, after many lifetimes, it becomes purified, and then he uh, takes the path of jnana, knowledge, acquiring knowledge. He starts reading scriptures, right? Then acquire knowledge, seeks the truth. Then after that, actually, he may take up the process of dhyana yoga, which actually is Ashtanga yoga, meditation. So basically, executing the various 8 angas of yoga, right? Yama, niyama, right? Asana, pratyahara, like that, dhyana, samadhi, finally samadhi. So this is the process. So even a dhyana yogi, so if somebody, doesn't, it's possible that any time, somebody can fall down from the path, right? So it is not that essentially, we may progress. So there's a possibility to fall down at every step in the progress. So this is the natural progression. And then after Dhyana Yoga, he may, if we become fortunate to meet a devotee of the Lord, then he may take up Bhakti process, devotion to the Lord. So this Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So the different steps are ultimately leading to Bhakti Yoga. But it is not always necessary that we have to go through the sequence. So when we understand the information and we develop faith in the topmost process of Bhakti, then somebody can directly take the Bhakti Yoga. So the example is given like, so you can, if there's a huge building with some 100 floors. So one option is that you can go by the stairs one by one, right? Which may take a very long time. Another option is that you can take the lift, right? So the lift will directly take the person to the top floor. So Bhakti Yoga process is like taking the lift, elevator, where actually you can directly attain the highest position, right? So, but then generally people doesn't have faith to take Bhakti Yoga because people have no questions, they have doubts. So that is why normally, the gradual process maybe is what is most common. So maybe after performing karma yoga for many years, then you may understand that it actually doesn't provide highest benefit. So then you start seeking for the knowledge. So by jnana, acquiring jnana, like this is more about the philosophical part, like whatever Krishna, the Sankhya Yoga, where actually Krishna is explaining what is soul, what is our real identity, right? What are the different senses. So this is the empirical study. So a Gnani or a person who is interested in knowledge, he may go through this path and then he may get the faith and conviction. Then actually he may meditate on the Lord, on Paramatma. So this is the this is the gradual progression. But actually, because like whoever is, for example, all of us who are fortunate, somehow or other come to the connection of devotees, right? So in this case, we are getting the knowledge of Bhakti Yoga and Krishna. We are understanding from Bhagavad Gita that Lord actually is declaring that of all the yogis, the yogi. Somebody may think that yogi, I want to do the yogic process, but then Lord actually is giving the conclusion in this chapter, in this sloka, that of all the yogis, the Bhakti yogi is the topmost. Because Krishna is saying that whoever is connected to him, because that we have seen from philosophy also, right? The ultimate purpose of the jiva actually is to regain his original constitutional position, and his original position in the spiritual world, serving the Lord. So this is the jiva's original constitutional position is to serve the Lord. And whenever you execute devotional service, even if you do a small devotional service, if you do chanting, if you do kirtan, so we get the spiritual happiness because because that is our original position. So when we understand this highest truth and have faith, then actually we can directly take the bhakti process. So that is the point. So and then also we saw that somebody who's if you see somebody chanting the holy names of the Krishna or executing devotional service, we need to understand that he might have already performed all other activities, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, in many of his past lifetimes. Unless and until one actually has done all these things, he has visited all the holy places of pilgrimage, right? He has all done the austerities, all the punya karma. Unless and he does this, it is very difficult for somebody to take bhakti. So that is why some people doesn't take up bhakti, even if you tell them, even tell them it's simple, it's easy, because that they are not attained the basic purification or the sukriti. They don't know the sukriti to attain it. But the sukriti can be attained also, like because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this Kali Yuga, he gave this process very freely. So even any devotee, any pure devotee of the Lord, if he thinks that okay, this person should get the sukriti, then he will get that. So without sukriti also, bhakti can be the bhakti lida beach can be received. Brahmanda Brahmide Kurno Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. So by Guru, mercy of Guru and Krishna, right? So basically, when a person becomes sincere in his heart and he sincerely seeks or prays to the Lord, for revealing the truth, then the Paramatma who is sitting in the heart actually hears the prayer and he guides, he sends a Guru who actually can deliver this person, right? And then that Guru, real Guru, actually will give the spiritual knowledge to the person, and by the help of that Guru, the person can again attain the Lord Krishna, right? Is bhakti. So this is the process how it works. So we have seen what we have seen in from the scriptures is that all the great acharyas, like whether it is Madhavacharya, Ramanacharya, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, right, our acharyas in our parampara, so they all have come to the same conclusion, right from the scriptures, from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, that Krishna is actually the ultimate goal. In Bhagavad Gita also we saw 15:15. Krishna says, that सर्वस्य चाहं हृदसन्निविष्टो मतस्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो Vedanta. So the purpose of knowing all the Veda is to understand Krishna. Right? And in 7.19, Krishna says, so we just will see a few scriptural quotes which actually support the conclusion. So what one actually is that Vedesha Sarve, the purpose of knowing all Vedas is to understand Krishna. Then 7.19 Bhagavad Gita says, Bahunam Janmanam Ande Jnanavan Mam Prabhadyante Vasudeva Sarvamidi Samahatma Sudurlava. What it means? After many, many births, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many, many births, a person who is Jnani, so we saw Jnana Yoga, right? Person who is seeking knowledge, right? After many, many births, right? Bahunam Janmanam Ande Jnanavan Mam finally he comes to the conclusion that Krishna is the supreme, Vasudeva is supreme, and surrenders unto him. Bahunam Janmanam Ande Jnanavan Mam Prabhadyante, right? Vasudeva Sarvamidi Samahatma Sudurlava. Even such a soul is very rare. But then actually, do we want to take many births is the question. No? When we have an option here, and when we have the acharyas giving us the truth. So if you are intelligent, like we discussed in the last session, we will not waste any time. We don't want to take any chance. Right? Many births, taking another birth is risky always. So actually, we can follow the other previous acharyas, Bhuvanam Janma. So over Jnanavan, after many, many lifetimes, he is coming to the conclusion that Vasudeva is Sarva. Right? And Krishna, we already saw in 4.3, Krishna himself is saying, Bhakto se Bhakto sime sagacheri rahasyam here etat uttamam. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, because you are my devotee and my friend, right? This rahasya, this secret of secret knowledge, I am giving you. So again, we understand from this that the qualification to understand the topmost knowledge is to become a devotee of the Lord. We have to surrender to the Lord, become a devotee, right? We have also seen that what is the importance of approaching a guru. So then 18.55, Krishna says, Bhakti amam abhijanati, right? So only by bhakti you can understand me, Krishna, as I am. Bhakti amam abhijanati. Then in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Uddhava in 11th canto, 14th chapter, 21st verse. Bhaktyaham ekya grahya shraddhayatma priya sadam sadam bhakti punadiman nishtaha swapakakanabi sambhavat. What it means? I am attained only by exclusive devotion, bhakti ayagaya, with faith. I am very dear to the devotees. Even those born as dog eaters become purified if they fix their devotion on me. This is a very profound shloka. So basically, Krishna is saying that there is no qualification, right? The qualification by birth is not important. Like we have seen that earlier. Whether you are a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, this is not our identity. We are a spirit soul. And Krishna is saying that even if you are a dog eater, means very low class person or person who is born into a very low class family, who doesn't have any spiritual credit. Even such a person, he becomes purified by executing devotional service. Krishna is saying, and he's saying that only by bhakti I am attained only by exclusively devotion. Bhaktyaham ekaya grahya. Right? So, and then in the end of Bhagavad Gita, towards the end, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mamegam Sharanam Praja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ikshami Mashta. So, Krishna is saying that no, don't worry about all these different religions. Right? I mean, the religions mean different processes. Krishna says in the conclusion, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, give up everything. Mam Eka Sharanam Praja. No, you fully surrender unto me. You please take only shelter upon to me. Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ikshami Mashta. So, Krishna says, don't worry, Arjuna. No, I will free you from all the sinful reactions, because the sinful reactions which are accumulated is one of the greatest obstacles for us to become purified, no, and make progress. So Krishna is saying that you don't worry about all these so many different processes. You just surrender unto me fully, having faith in me. So basically, again, it is the process of bhakti. Surrender means it's part of bhakti. This way, it is clearly established that actually bhakti is the topmost process. So we have also discussed, no, the Bhagavad Gita is divided into three sections: first six chapters, middle six chapters, and last six chapters. So the middle six chapters is the rahasya part, is this confidential part, which is like protected by the other six on either side. So the middle six chapters talks about bhakti yoga, right? So now it is the sixth chapter we are discussing, and in the end of sixth chapter, Krishna is transforming, or it's a transformation of the knowledge. So gradually, Krishna is moving from other processes like Ashtanga Yoga, which we discussed last, to the Bhakti. So in the last chapter, Krishna says, of all the yogis, one who is a devotee is the topmost. So now is the transition, and from the next chapter onwards, we will be discussing more about Bhakti Yoga. So we'll see one more shloka, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 50th verse. So this shloka we'll recite the shloka. Samsarida Samsaridaye padavallavam Mahatpadam punya yasho murare Bhavambudirvatsa padam param padam yat pipadam natesham. So this is a very important shloka. What actually is mentioned is that, so this samsara, no, we have seen that material existence is like a great ocean, right? Samsaridaye padavallavam Mahatpadam punya yasho murare Bhavambudhi. So Bhavambudhi is the ocean of material existence. So what it is mentioned is that one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is known as Murari, right? Also known as Murari, because he is killer of the demon Mura. So one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, for him, this huge material ocean, which is unsurmountable, right? Which is not possible to overcome, right? So the huge ocean becomes like the small water puddle, right? So Vatsapadam, Vatsapadam means when a small calf keeps its hoof, so there is a small puddle of water, right? Small puddle. So it is very easy to cross. You can just jump over it. So one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, this entire material ocean, which is extremely vast and unsurmountable, impossible to cross over, it appears or it becomes like the small puddle of water, right? Which you can easily cross over. So that means that only by taking shelter of the Lord, Supreme Lord, we can overcome this material existence, which is very difficult to overcome, which actually consists of the three modes of material nature, right, and the three kleshas, Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik. So basically, various difficulties, challenges, and the Maya's curtain is very strong. So all these difficulties, which can be easily overcome for one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Why? Because Lord actually is the controller of everything, right? He is the propounder, or he is the proprietor of everything. Krishna mentions Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, and also Krishna says that Maya Dikshena Prakriti. So in material nature, the Maya is working under the Lord's instruction. So only option is to get out of this great ocean of material existence is to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is the controller of everything. So that way, we can understand that actually this is the process. So we'll see how do we know one example from scriptures where how do we know whether yogi or devotee is greater, right? So we again revisit the story of Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj. So we know that we have seen this story a few times. Each time we look at different aspects. So today's context, we will see Ambarish Maharaj is a great king, but at the same time, he's a pure devotee of the Lord. He's fully surrendered to the Lord, and he was executing the Navavida Bhakti, right, with 9 steps of devotional service. Ravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So 9 steps. He was executing the various processes, and he was completely dedicated to the Lord. He used to execute Ekadashi Vrata regularly. So he was fasting. And Durvasa Muni, we know, is a great yogi, mystic yogi. He is one of the greatest yogis. He has so many mystic powers. He can travel anywhere in the world, right? Where his mystic power. And so many siddhis he is having. So Durvasa Muni came one day to test Ambarish Maharaj. So he deliberately comes with a huge, like 60,000 disciples. He comes. And he comes at the time of fast breaking the fast. So then Ambarish Maharaj becomes in dilemma. No? So because he is a great sage, he has to take care of the sage. And everybody knows that Durvasa Muni is like very short tempered. So for a very small thing, he will curse. So Ambarish Maharaj actually, at the same time, he has to break the fast. When the time of fast breaking coming, he has to break it at the time. So Durvasa Muni will go with all his disciples. No, like no. So he comes actually. So the time comes. So Durvasa Muni. So basically the time is passing. So Ambarish has to take an action. He has to break the fast. So his brahmanas or ministers advise him that he can take water. Right. So water is not considered as brave food. So symbolically he can break the fast, but at the same time he can avoid offending Durvasa Muni. But Durvasamuni, as we know, he actually became very furious. And he wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj because he thought that he offended him. So now the yogi, great mystic yogi, by his mystic yogi produces a great, he pulls out some hair and he creates a very ferocious demon. And the demon will come with a trident immediately to kill Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj, because he is fully surrendered, he just prays to the Supreme Lord. He folds his hand and prays to the Lord, and he thinks that if this is the will of the Lord, let it happen. But then he surrenders to Krishna. But immediately then Sudarshan Chakra comes actually to kill Durvasa Muni. First he kills the demon and then he follows Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni will he will start running. He goes everywhere in the world, try to hide, but then no escape. Sudarshan Chakra will follow wherever he goes. He goes to Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, right? So all of them will say that we can't do anything. And finally he goes to Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu also says that I am fully dependent on my devotees. So only Ambarish Maharaj can save you. So finally, Durvasa Muni has to fall at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj. And because Ambarish Maharaj being merciful devotee, immediately forgives Durvasa Muni. So here what we understand is that even though Durvasa Muni was a great yogi, right, has acquired so many mystic powers, very powerful, even though he had everything. On the other side, Ambarish Maharaj actually was a king, right? But he was fully surrendered. He was very humble and meek and fully surrendered on the Lord. But then we saw that in this episode that actually how a devotee is actually superior to the yogi. So yeah, so with that, I think we come to the end of main topic. So what is the essential takeaway of today's topic? Is that actually we saw, we will just conclude sixth chapter. We saw Krishna is talking about Dhyana Yoga, right, which is Ashtanga Yoga process. And generally, the aim of Ashtanga yogis is to either attain material mystic siddhis or they want to merge with the Brahman ultimately, right? So they because they don't have desire to serve the Lord, they get the impersonal liberation. Right. So, but then what we understood from the discussions in the past few days is that, and in the last sloka, Krishna is concluding that of all the yogis, one who is a devotee is the topmost. He is more dear to the Lord. Right. So, the essential conclusion for us is that we should have faith in the words of Krishna, who is directly telling in Bhagavad Gita, and also in the acharyas, and take up the elevator. Right. Fast forward our progress rather than taking many thousands of birth or hundreds of birth trying different processes, so many different options. Don't get confused or lost in the forest of all this confusion. So many paths. So stick to the path, one path. Follow the acharyas. Take up devotional service. Starting with the chanting of the holy names, right? Executing devotional service. So this way, we can attain the highest perfection. And as our acharya Srila Prabhupada says, if you are very sincere and serious, right, within one lifetime, you can attain perfection. So the takeaway is that let us have faith in the Lord and follow the process of bhakti. Right? So with that, I think we'll end here. So anybody wants to leave at this point, they can leave. If anybody has a question, they can unmute and ask. Hare Krishna. So yeah, so thanks everybody for joining. If there are no questions, we'll meet again tomorrow. So we'll end here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.